So thank you everybody for coming. Just for your awareness, we will be recording this workshop. And again, for those who just joined, you will find the link for the GitHub repository that contains a PDF copy of this presentation, along with an R Markdown file that we will be using. It, I see some people are putting it on the chat, so thank you for that. So great. Again, thanks for being here. I will introduce myself. My name is Pablo Barajas. I am one of the co-organizers for OCRUG, which is the Orange County R users group. And this event is presented by OCRUG along with MAC. MAC stands for Mirage Analytics Club. So we're very grateful for all the support that MAC has provided and for making this event happen. Great, so let's get started. Just so you get an idea of what we will be doing today. We're gonna go through the tutorial. I'm thinking it's gonna take about an hour and a half. It might take, give it plus or minus 15 minutes. Depends on questions. It's not that complicated, and I think we will be able. I'm pretty confident we will be able to do it in less than that. But you never know. There's always little quirks that happen. So that's the agenda for today. Just so you're aware, what this is and what this is not. This is a workshop that will give you the tools to create a simple and customizable website. This is not a deep dive into R, into Git, into GitHub, nor is it a deep dive into websites and data science projects. Okay, so now with that, let me tell you a little bit about me and the motivation for this workshop. I 2 years ago, I was part of a master's program at UC Irvine, the Masters of Science in Business Analytics. And I'm going through the program, and I have to interview for when I want to get a job, right? A lot of companies want to provide. They want to know your work. They want to know what you're capable of. So that's really the motivation of why I spent some time on figuring out how to create a data science portfolio and a website where I could showcase projects that I had worked on. I went through different iterations of these GitHub pages and other things, RPubs, things like that. And finally, I settled on the way that we're going to be going through the workshop today. It's a very easy way to create the website. And if you're an R user, it's very seamless. It's with the workflow that a typical analyst or data scientist goes through. It's very easy to work through with this. And even for Python users, you can showcase all the work that you can do in Python. So really, again, why have that portfolio website, right? It's a way to build trust with others so that we can prove that we can do the work. And in data science, this is a way we can do it. Some ideas of what to include in your website. Schoolwork, if you have any interesting projects that you think are relevant for the companies you might be applying to, or you just want to show. Hackathon projects that you go through. Often here at OCRUG, we go through workshops, things like that. So it's a good, those are good ideas of things to include, competition projects. And have your code available and well documented and tell a compelling story. That website, Awesome Blockdown, it contains a collection of different websites that were built with Blockdown, which is what we are going to be using today. And some of them are really amazing websites. So I encourage you to take a look at those. The link is provided on the slides. So again, we're going to go through this workflow and why using Hugo, GitHub, Blockdown, and Netlify. I mean, first of all, it's free. It's not going to cost you anything. It's very simple to edit. Instead of HTML, we can write on Markdown, which, you know, again, a little bit about my background. I did not have any, you know, development background before bumping into this. So Markdown comes very easy to me. It's easy to understand it. It's very simple and straightforward. One more thing is the multi-platform. You can build your site on the cloud, locally. It works on Mac, Linux, Windows. It's lightning fast to generate. And we will see examples of this. It's very, very fast. It builds very quickly. So that's another advantage of this. So setup for everybody on the line. We on the meetup site, and this is an oversight on my part, we asked you to create a GitHub account to have up-to-date versions of R and Rstudio. I failed, and this is on me, so I apologize, to mention that we're gonna need to download Git today. So I will give a few minutes. So everybody, please go and download Git. For those who already have it, you know, go ahead and just wait for others. But we're gonna need Git. So let's do that. You know, if you click on the, it's just git-scm.com, or if you Google it, just Git, you should be able to get it. And very easy, you know, you just go to downloads and whatever you have, Mac, Windows, Linux, download it. I'm working, one more thing, I'm working on a Windows machine today. I think we will be able to go through everything without too many hassles. But if you have, you know, OS specific questions, let's reserve that to the end, so we don't spend too much time on that. So again, please go ahead and download Git. Again, this is going to be a hands-on workshop, so please do that. And the other thing I want to mention, you can go ahead with the default settings. No, it's not necessary to specify anything. You know, there's nothing specific. So if you go with the defaults, we should be fine. It's been a couple minutes. I think that should be enough, but please type in the chat if you're still downloading this, just so I know where people are at. If you can just let me know, we can give you more time. If not, if I don't see a lot of responses. Okay, so people are still downloading. Great. Perfect. Let's give it a few more minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, so people can download it.
Pablo, during the 2 minutes, do you think you can explain the difference between Git and GitHub? What's the purpose of having both? or are they completely different things?
They are related, but they're different things. Git is the version; it's a version control system, and GitHub is where it's hosted, where you're gonna host that the code, and yeah, really that's what it is. John, I don't know if you have a better answer than mine.
Yeah, so that's basically all true. So Git runs on your machine and does all the versioning control, and then GitHub is it's Git, but they've built a system on top of it that allows developers to do like code reviews and makes it easier to share their code and stuff like that. But in order to use GitHub, you need Git.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying.
Let me go back to this while people are waiting. This is just a little animated GIF on kind of the workflow that we're going to be working through. We're going to be using, let me wait for it to show, GitHub to create a new repository. We're going to use Git on a local machine to add and commit changes. We're going to use R and Rstudio to actually build the site, and then Netlify, where it's going to be where our site is going to be hosted. Okay,
Mine's finished downloading.
Okay, yes, I think I'm seeing people are starting to finish. Let me see here. What is it that we have? Don't do anything yet, but these are just some of the steps that we're gonna be taking in order to create the website. First step, we're gonna create on GitHub, we're gonna create a new repository. We're gonna copy or clone that URL. Then we're gonna go to RStudio and we're gonna install the package called Blockdown. This is what is gonna help us create the website. We're gonna create an R project. Then we're gonna serve the site. We're gonna modify a few things. We're gonna create a new post. We're gonna use Git to add, commit, push changes, and then we're gonna go to Netlify, and so we can serve the site. Now we might move around a little bit, so don't. We're not completely married to this workflow, but ideally this is what we would do. And I have some screenshots on the presentation, so if you get a little lost, don't worry. Most of the presentation has the screenshots, and it's also recording. Again, we're recording this session, so you can go back and look at it. Okay, I think that's about enough time. So again, follow along, please, everybody. I'm gonna go very slow, and when I go to first of all, let's do this for all of you who just downloaded Git, and even people who already had Git. For first-time users, we need to configure Git. And let me make this a little bigger, actually, so you can see it. So these are two different commands. The first one, so open Git, let's say, let me find my Git. And you're gonna type, Git, just copy that, config global user.name. And hit enter. Not too complicated. Now let's do the same thing for the next command. Just copy it. Config let's call it oh, and see, I made a mistake here. Be careful with spaces and things like that. So again, configuring, this is for first-time users. You don't have to do this again, just the first time you're using Git. Okay, let's move on. And again, everybody, if you get stuck, what I'm gonna do is at the half hour at 6:30, I'm gonna have a 5 to 10 minute break. There's too many people to really answer everybody's questions, but I'll try to pick from the chat, things that I've struggled with in the past. So we can answer a few questions, and if you want to stay at the end, I'm also willing to stay at the end to answer more questions. So let's move on to the next step. Let's see here. So now we're gonna go to GitHub and we're gonna create a new repository, okay? So this is GitHub. I'm gonna give you a minute to go to it, just github.com. Hopefully you have created an account. Again, I'll give you a minute to log in if necessary. Okay, so let's move on. So this is if you don't have any repositories, essentially, if this is like a new account for you, this is really what you're gonna see. It's pretty much blank, or should look very similar. There's a few ways where we can create the repository. This might be the easiest one to see. If you look at the top left corner, we see a button that says create repository. So that's one way to do it. The other way is to go to the top right corner, click on the caret, the drop down, and you can see repositories, your repositories. If I click on that, I don't have any repositories. So I can click on new right here. So again, let me go back. We can create a repository from here, or if we go to top right, repositories, new. I'm gonna go ahead and click here, the new repository. And this is the first thing that we're gonna do. we are going to give it a name. In this case, you can name it whatever you want. I'm just gonna name it website. And I'm gonna have a small description. Right. So again, let's look at the tutorial on the screen. So we have the repository name, we have a small description. Let's keep it public. To be honest with you, I haven't tested if it's gonna work on private. So for now, let's keep it public. It might work if we select private. I just don't know. So let's do it public for right now. And then just click the check mark on add.getIgnore. So again, we provided a name, a small description. We're keeping the repository public. We're clicking here on add.getIgnore. For some reason, it's not over there. I don't know if you all saw what I had. I had this grayed out. If you just click on add readme and then unselect that, you should be able to click on create repository. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click that. So the repository is created. So don't do anything yet, please. Let's just go back to the screen here and see what is that we're gonna be doing. So this is one way to do it, and I think it's the most user-friendly for right now. We're just gonna copy the URL. If you know what you're doing, you can set your SSH keys. But I think for most people, this is just gonna be easier. So this is the way we're gonna be teaching it today. So again, we're in this section, we're just gonna copy that right here. It copies the URL. So now, let's move on. Great. So now we're gonna go to RStudio. That's our next step. Let's open RStudio. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hit install packages block down. Okay, let me see. I think this might be a little small for people. Let me make it bigger. So again, install the packages, block down. Great. So we did that. Now let's look at the next step. So we install packages, we install block down. So now we're gonna run this line of code. Block down, install Hugo. So I'll give it a minute for people to look at it and copy it. All right, I'm gonna hit enter. Now, the other thing is I already had these things downloaded, so it might be a little faster for me. If it's taking a little bit longer for you, that's perfectly normal. Okay, great. This should work, but you know, sometimes I don't know, when you start installing new packages, especially if you already had an R session open or things like that, this is a personal preference. You might want to restart that session or completely close RStudio and restart it. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna close my RStudio and restart it. Perfect. So now pay close attention to this. I'm gonna go to File, New Project. So again, I went to File, New Project. I clicked on that. I'm gonna go to new directory. So really what we're doing here is we're gonna create a new R project, and this is where we're gonna create the website. So once we're in this section, we're gonna hit new directory, and we're gonna click here on website using Blockdown, okay? So again, for those, I'll do it one more time. So within RStudio, we're on File, New Project, New Directory, Website using Blockdown. And now we're gonna provide a name. Let's call it Website. And you can choose where you wanna save this project. I'm gonna save the same place here under my document. You can choose whatever you want. This is important, and I'll just mention it briefly. This is the theme that we're gonna be working on. This is just the default theme. There are many different themes that you can choose for your website. I see a comment that I wanna use this theme. Perfect. The only thing you need to do is go to that themes GitHub repository, provide the username, / and the theme name, and you should be able to use that. Okay, so again, this is the one we're going to be using. At the end of the presentation, I have a link to a website that contains, I think, hundreds of different themes that you can choose from. But for today, we're just going to go ahead and use the default theme. So again, we gave it a name, chose where to save this project, and we're gonna create it. So, couple things to note. Couple things to note. So in RStudio, we have this viewer tab. This is the website. This is what it created. If you see, we have an about page, and it's like, hello, this is a hello world example, website for the Blockdown package. This takes us down to the post. So this is a plain R Markdown, post. So this is just the content that we that the default site has. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna change a few things just to make it ours, and we're not gonna change everything. Or that's something that you will have to do on your own. But we're gonna change a few things, and I'll show you what. So let me take a look here, see what the next steps are. Server side, okay. Okay. So before we start changing things, let's go ahead and do this. just giving a few moments for people to get acquainted that side. So what I'm gonna do, and again, this is for Windows users. If you're a Mac Linux user, I'll briefly mention it. But look, I created this website repository right here in this folder. This is where my R project is saved. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna git bash here. So that's one way to access Git, right? The other way where you can access Git, and again, sorry, this is mostly for Windows users. This is because I am one. But you start, I think for Mac users, you can just type in terminal and Git should work. Is that correct? I don't know, John, I think you are more proficient with that.
Yep. So on the Windows, you have a bash, which is the terminal emulation. So everything happening on Windows is actually emulating what a Mac would do.
Great. So let me, again, so just the only thing that you have to do is go to the directory where you have your website saved, that repository. So, you know, for me it's right here. So I want to go to you can do CD and I have it. So documents and then website. You just want to make sure that you're in that same folder, that same repository. And again, for some people, it might be easier to just go for Windows users, just right click and then git bash here and you should be fine. Now, these are the commands that we're going to be typing in. So let me see. I think that should be big enough, I think. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll do it slowly. So we're gonna start typing this in. Again, you can just copy it if you have already have a copy of the PDF. Echo test. So again, what we're doing here is we're just creating a README markdown. So let's do that. I'm gonna hit enter. Very well. Next, let's go ahead and type in the next command. So git init. Enter. And you know what? I'm crossing my fingers here that this works. Sometimes, you know, when you do kind of like live coding things, issues happen. So I tested this a few times, so hopefully no issues happen. So let's go ahead. Git add period. All right. So again, I'm gonna go here, my next one. Okay, I will keep going. What I've noticed, and my mistakes are usually like spelling mistakes. So make sure that you're following the same spelling and spaces. That's usually what creates little issues. So I will continue. Now, right here, I have it highlighted in orange. This is the link from the GitHub repository. So if you remember, we had copied, when we created the repository in GitHub, we click this button. What that button is doing is just copying it to the clipboard. So I'm just gonna paste it. I'm showing you, kind of the easy way to do it. You can do it whatever you want. You can type it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. Now the last one. Give a little bit of time for people to catch up. All right, let's see what happens. Okay. So let's see. So essentially what happened is we created an R project from the default website, which is all this. You will see all the files that were created right here. You can go to the Files tab. You will see this is everything that was downloaded from the default theme. And essentially what we're doing is all this that is in our local computer, we're pushing it to GitHub. So let's go ahead. Let's see if. So you see now my repository here on GitHub, it contains all the files, everything that we did. Okay. So that's essentially what we did. We created the website locally, and through Git, we pushed it to our GitHub repository online. I promised we were gonna take a quick break at 6:30. It's now 6:38. So let's give it 5 to 10 minutes as a break. Let's do 10 minutes. So I think we have time. We're making good progress. So we'll get back at 6:50. And in the meantime, I'm gonna be looking at the chat. I know people are answering questions, but let's see if I can answer some of the questions here, okay? So again, if you were following along with me, we'll be back at 6:50. And now I will try to answer some of the questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, I see a question for the command git remote at origin URL. Which URL should I use? So if you remember, where the URL that you should use is on your GitHub repository. We're gonna copy this. This is the URL that we wanna copy right here. It says something like https github.com / your username, and then the name of the repository that you created. So that's what it's gonna be. You can copy it here. So that's the name of the URL. Okay, let's see. People are asking for the commands. Here are the commands. See, I think some people are having trouble with that. This command right here. So again, it's just git remote add origin, and then is this one. Now, one thing I failed to mention, but it's gonna ask you to, I think for most, it's gonna ask you to authenticate the first time. So, you know, just go ahead and put in your username and password. So again, git remote origin, the URL, which is the URL for your Git repository. It's not this one, so don't make the mistake of just copying this one. It's this one right here. Yes, we're recording this and we're gonna upload it to our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to see a recording of this video. Not a Git repository. You know, I think that might be, just make sure that you copied all the commands. Sometimes, you know, Git init, if you skip this one, then you're not gonna have a Git repository. Question is, what should the end result look like? This is the end result. So on GitHub, you're gonna have all the files that we created in RStudio. So again, remember, when we created that R project, we created all of these files. So all of these files are now here on our GitHub repository. So that's what it is. That's the question. What's the difference between Git CMD and the original CMD? I don't think I understand that one. Again, look, if you messed up somewhere, let's see, we have 5 minutes, okay? If you messed up somewhere, I'm gonna go ahead and rerun everything we just did very quickly, okay? So follow along. We're gonna go back to the beginning here. So remember, this was our first step. We were in this, on GitHub, we're gonna create a new repository. We're gonna create a website. So let's call it website 2. This is, just give a description. We're gonna click add.gitignore. Click and unclick the add readme. So again, new repository. We're gonna create that repository. It takes us here. This is the URL right here, this thing. This is what we need to copy. Now, after this, we went to RStudio. We are gonna hit on new project. New directory. Website using Blockdown. Let's call it website 2. We're gonna go with the default theme. We're gonna create the project. Okay. So that's what we did. Now, once we were here, once we created this project here, look at the files. This is everything that was created. Now, what we have to do is we have to go to that that repository, that folder. Okay, so we're on website 2. I'm gonna double click again. We're on website 2. Many ways to get here, but you can just do git bash. Essentially, what you want is, look at this area. You want to be on website 2. Wherever you saved it, you want to be on website 2. So once you're here on website 2, now it's when we're going to start using these, issuing these commands. Okay, do that, and that should work. Let me close this. I'm going to close this one and open the original. Does the Git work as a bridge to link our files to GitHub? Yeah, essentially that's what we're doing when we're pushing things through Git to GitHub, yes. Do we need Xcode for Mac user? I apologize, I don't know.
No, you don't.
See another question. What should happen after we run the Git commands? We should see our files on GitHub. Yes, that's correct. Once you're on GitHub, let me go back to my original one. They're all here. All the files are on the GitHub repository for the website right here. If you don't see them, maybe just hit refresh. It should be almost immediately that you see that. Okay, so now it is 6:50. So let's go ahead and continue. So last thing we did, again, as a recap for those of you coming back, we created in our project here, and our project, what it did is it created all these files. We also created on GitHub our website, and through Git we pushed those changes, and now we have them here. All the files that were here on our website are now on GitHub. Okay, so let's move on. So now, next thing, we're gonna go to Netlify. So go ahead and go to this website, which is very simple. netlify.com, netlify.com. Okay, you're gonna log in. It's gonna ask you. It's gonna ask you if you want to log in with your GitHub credentials. The answer is gonna be yes. So go ahead and log in with your GitHub credentials. I'll give that a minute. I think the first time, sometimes GitHub is secure, so it sends an email to verify that you want to use the service, that kind of thing. So let's give it a minute. So again, on netlify.com, log in using your GitHub credentials. Very important that you log in using GitHub. If you don't, it's not going to work. And the reason why it's not going to work is because, again, GitHub is hosting it's our repository. This is where we're hosting all our files, and we need it to we need to make that connection between Netlify and GitHub. Okay, so again, log in with your GitHub credentials. Okay, I am gonna continue, okay? So once we're here, once you have logged in with your GitHub credentials, look at this button. It says new site from Git. Let's click on that, okay? So I clicked on that, and I have these options. Continuous deployment from GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. We're gonna click on GitHub. These are the repositories that I have on my GitHub. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on website. And look at this. It's very simple. That's what I was talking about at the beginning. It's very simple to deploy. So now that we're in this section, we just hit deploy site. It takes just a few seconds. It says it's thinking, it's deploying your site. So let's just wait a little bit. So great, my site is deployed. So let's take a look. Look at this. It has a strange URL. We're gonna fix that, but just it's over here, top left. Okay. If you click on that, it's gonna send you. So remember, these are the things that we created in RStudio. So again, I'm gonna go to RStudio. On the viewer tab, this is what we created, okay? We go to about, this is a hello world. If I go back and I go to about, see? So this is our site. Now, great, we have a site. Let's start making a few changes and start personalizing this, this website, okay? The first thing that you're gonna notice, it has a very strange URL, right? Heuristic, Euler, whatever. That's not very appealing. So what we can do is we go here, the main settings, and let's go to, so again, sorry, I went a little fast. So on the main side, we're gonna click domain settings. Then we're gonna hit here, options, and edit site name. This is what we're gonna edit. So, you know, name it whatever you want. Pablo website, netlify.app, whatever you want to name it, and save. So now, look at this. We have it here. And I will talk about custom domains and things like that at the end. But for now, let's just do that. Let me see if I can. Okay, I see some questions on the chat. Let's address those at the end. I think some of those are a little unique. So again, so this is our website. So now let's start making changes, right? So right now we didn't do any changes. So we're gonna go back to RStudio and we're gonna start making changes. I'm not gonna go through all the files and what they are and all that, but I'll give you a preview. I'm gonna let you explore and figure things out on your own. You know, Google is your friend. The first thing, an important one, is this file, config.toml. Let's click on that, okay? This file is kind of like, let's call it the setup for the website. Let's change a few things. For example, in the About menu, right? Let's change that to, so again, I'm just gonna go back to the website. So we have this About tab. Let's change that. We're gonna hit it, call it example, okay? Make the URL the example. So I'm just gonna hit Control S to save. And if you see over here on the viewer, it doesn't say about anymore. It's now example. So that's, you know, that's how you start making changes. You start poking at things. For example, this next tab is called GitHub, and the URL, it's taking us to the Blogdown website. Let's call it Blogdown, right? Again, I changed the name. I'm gonna hit Control S, and now we have it here, okay? The other thing, this theme, it's organized in this in alphabetical order. You can change things. So just so you know, I'm just showing you that you can make changes to the website, okay? Let's see, what else are we gonna change here that I wanna show you? So let's look at the posts that we have, okay? Seems that we only have 2 posts. We have this, a plain markdown post, okay? So let's look at it real quick. So this is a post written in plain markdown instead of R markdown. The major difference is R, . Okay, great. So we have this sample post. Let's look at this other post that we have. Lorem ipsum. So it's just, again, just a sample. So I mentioned at the beginning that we're not gonna go deep into the types of projects that you should include on this. But I'm gonna give you one, let's run through one example, okay? The other thing is, like, you know, get to know your site. Start exploring, open the folders, look at things, look at, you know, things that where they're saved, what is that they're doing, that kind of thing. Let's look at content, right? So we see that the post, let's look at it. We see the R Markdown post and the Lorem ipsum and the hello R Markdown, this kind of thing. One, this is, I like this. I think it makes sense to me. But if you go to add-ins, oh, sorry. I gotta move this. There you go. If you go to add-ins, you're gonna see this one that says new post. Let's click on that. Let's create a new post. So again, on RStudio and add-ins, new post. Let's call this is the example I'm gonna provide. Let's call this Iris. Iris, whatever, example. The author, it's me, Pablo. When was it? When was it created? Today. Where do we want to create it? Post this. The reason why I like this is because it's doing a little bit of the hard work of figuring things out for you. So any category, yeah, let's call it R. Any tags, let's call it R Markdown. You can type in whatever you want, you know, whatever tag you want. R tag, it's fine. And we're gonna create this. This is gonna be an R Markdown file. So that's what we have. So let's go ahead and click done. So if you see what it did is under post, under content post, it created this folder called 2020-11-09 Iris example. And let's go ahead and start creating a project. Now, on the repository that I was showing at the beginning of the presentation, I included an R Markdown file. So if you want, you can open that. I have it here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna copy this and I'll explain what we're doing. But for right now, I'm just gonna copy this. So again, what is it that we did? We clicked on add-ins, new post. We created a new post. We named it Iris example, and it created this folder for us under post. So now let's dive into this. And I'm gonna go through this quickly, okay? I see that someone put, I don't see the add-in button in RStudio. If you do not see the add-in button, this is what you can do. Go to the, you know, your folder, go to their website, content, and under post, create a new folder. So something like, for me, it would be something like, I'm gonna go to my website. I'm gonna go to content. I'm gonna go to post. I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it 2020-09. Did not work. Right, whatever. And under that folder, we're gonna create this, which is this file that I have here. Okay. So again, I'm just gonna go through this. It's an R Markdown. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend that you get familiar with R Markdown. I know there's a lot of students in this workshop. It's gonna be, I find it very useful in order, you know, if I have a project that I want to submit, you know, my homework or whatever. You can type in things, you can create your story here, you can show plots, you can show output, you can show code. So I like it very much, and it's simple to use, and it looks good, it looks professional. So this is the post. Let's see. what I'm doing here, let me run it here. So what I did, I clicked on this button, knit, and let me see if it's short, if it's, oh, perfect. It's already there. So look at this. This is my website, right? We named it Iris Example. If I clicked on that, we start looking. The first line I wrote is like install or load packages. We have them here. Then we're gonna load the data. This is just a sample data set that we have. Data Iris. We can, examine the data, dimension, 150 observations, 5 variables. What are the names? Sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, species. What's the structure of this, of Iris? Well, it's a data frame. And again, we have 150 observations, 5 variables. 4 of those variables are numeric. We see some of their values. And then we have one that is a factor, okay? Let's look at those. We have setosa, versicolor. So it's just an example. So now we have head. We're just looking at the first 6 rows of the data. So we have it here. It's just the first 6 rows. So it's just, again, this is just an example. It's not detailed data science. I'm just showing you an example. We have a summary. We have summary statistics, minimum, maximum, first quartile, median, mean, that kind of thing. We can plot it. We have an example here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We have a post about, it's about a third of the observations are setosa, about third virginic and third versicolor. We can do variance, covariance, correlations, a histogram of the sepal length. I'm showing an example here. Then we have just another plot. More plots. We have a decision tree that we're going to be running. And, it's just showing the output. And this is just a plot of that decision tree. Okay. So again, we created this. Let's think about what we did. Let's pause and let's analyze what we did. So we created under post a new example. We called it Iris example. Okay. In this Iris example, I just pasted that file that I provided to you all. And this is the part where you can start getting creative. So we created the R markdown. I hit this button, knit. And then we were able to see that it was added to our website. Again, remember, this is only locally. We haven't pushed all of this to GitHub. So this is just locally, just on our local machine. The next step, so again, let's go ahead and look at our website. I'm just hit refresh and I still don't see it. The reason why I don't see it, because I haven't pushed anything to GitHub, okay? So let's look at the tutorial. Let's see what it's telling us. We went through this, okay, perfect. So we made some changes to the sample website. Remember, we changed the tabs here, block down, example. If we look at, we have other things here, right? And then we created an example we don't have it here. So what we now have to do is we are gonna add the changes on Git, we're gonna commit, and we're gonna push it, okay? So I go back to Git. I'm gonna type in git add. Okay, just giving time for everybody to follow along. Git add space, period, hit enter. Oh, let me make sure I did this. Yeah, I did. Okay, so we did git add. Now we're gonna hit git commit. Commit. Let's call it first post changed tabs. You can type in whatever you want. Now we're gonna push it. Git push. So again, think about what we just did. We made changes on our website here locally. I'm just repeating myself, just making sure people get it. We made changes on our local machine. We added those changes on our version control system of Git. We added those changes, we committed, we put on a message on what is it that we just did. We created an example, we changed some of the tabs, and then we pushed it to GitHub, okay? So now let's take a look, see if you're already up there. So look at this. This is the actual website. Remember, Pablo website.netlify.app. If any of you go to Pablo website.netlify.app, you're gonna see this, okay? And you're gonna see the example that we just created. This is why it's very useful, very easy to work with this workflow. Well, in my opinion, because we just create an R markdown on R, do our analysis, and so the hard part is creating the analysis, making sure it's correct, all that. You don't have to worry too much about how am I going to present it on my website, right? You don't have to deal with, you know, how are the plots going to look like. The Blogdown is doing that for you, and so that's the great thing. Okay. So now, what's the next steps? Let's look at this. Again, get to know your site. Look at the config.tom file, TOML, which is this file right here. You know, the title is a Hugo website, but maybe your name is Johnny, whatever, right? Pablo. You don't want to tab that it's example. Let's call it, I don't know. Let's call it posts. We don't want to, you know, you can start doing whatever you want. Start playing, getting to know your site. Look at the content, look at resources, look at the static folder, and get to know it. Again, Google is your friend. It will help you figure out a lot of things. Now, some of the resources and extras, I mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot of different themes that you can pick on. So, you know, maybe you like something that is a little bit more dark, kind of like this. So you might want this site. A very popular one I will mention, a very popular site within R and the R community is the academic theme. Let me see if I can find it here really quick. Right here, academic, you see? This is a very popular theme. And because it's very popular, it has a lot of documentation. So, you know, there's a lot of people who have figured things out. So, you know, this is not a bad theme to pick. And you, instead of, you know, spending hours on how to change things, you can just look at this one. So this is another one that I would recommend on using. Now, how would you implement this theme? Let me go quickly through this, okay? If we were doing this from the beginning, if you remember, we went through File, New Project. Let me say this. So again, File, New Project, New Directory, Website using Blockdown, and this is what we're gonna change. We just use the default theme, which was this one, but let's see. What you need to do, and I'm just trying to show you, what you need to do in order to use this is this is what you need. You need their username and the theme's name. So again, username and theme name. Okay, so in this case, that's the username, that's the theme name. You're gonna create it. Webs. Thinking. So this is the academic theme. So, you know, this is another, again, it's a good one, but there's hundreds of ones that you can use. There's actually a book on how to, it's gonna walk you through all the steps that I just went through. It's more detailed, might be a good thing. So you can just check it out right here. It's called Blockdown by the creator of the package. And I just listed some good resources on making the website using Blockdown and Hugo, okay? The other thing for your analysis and for art markdown, again, you can use these ones, these links right here. And again, a subdomain, right? And I mentioned I was not gonna go through this, but you know, you might not like this. It says Pablo website.netlify.app. Maybe you want something else, something different. One thing that the R community is doing is that you can select this type of subdomain, the rbind.io. And if you have that, you know, I think most people would assume that you, you know, you're involved with the community, with the R community, that kind of thing. The other thing that we mentioned, a lot of you are new to Git and GitHub. There's a book on how to work with Git and GitHub for R. And now, again, this is specific for R, but you know, there are many, many resources online. If you're not an R user, you just want to use Git and GitHub. So there's many, many resources on how to use it. So let's see, we're 10 minutes earlier than what I planned, and that's okay. I think I mentioned at the beginning we were gonna do like plus or minus 15. So yeah, now it's time for questions. Before questions, John, or I don't know if Ryan is still on the line. Anything you wanna mention?
No, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna again, we're gonna create the YouTube video. We're gonna post it, and that should be available. You can, again, this presentation is found here. Let me go through it to it. You can find it here. GitHub, OCRUG presentations, right here. I think a lot of people posted the presentation on the chat, so just look at that. So the it's a PDF. It's right there. The example I provided, it's also there. And yeah, thank you, everybody. I'm gonna stay around for a little bit to answer some of the questions. Hopefully we can make it work. The challenge with this is some of the errors might be very specific to people, so hopefully I can help you. So yeah, go ahead, and if you want to leave, and if you have questions, please type it in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask it.
Hey, Pablo. Again, thank you for hosting this tutorial real quick. Quick question. For changing the Hugo theme on the on your webpage, so you just can you show that one more time? You go straight to the Hugo website, or you go to someone's GitHub and just grab the ending of the URL?
No, yeah. Let me let's see. Let me go back to the URL. So this is just a collection of all the themes, right? So scroll down. This one looks, I don't know. I'm trying to find one that I'm more familiar with. Let's just say this one, right? Bento. What we need is the username and the name of the theme. And usually, like, it's not obvious here, right? Like, I don't see it that it's obvious here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to find go to this GitHub for this person who created this. So it might be the homepage. Okay, great. So what I need is this, the username, which is Leonardo Faria and Bento. Okay. So I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna go to RStudio. I'm gonna go File, New Project, New Directory, Website using Blockdown. Call it whatever you want. Website 3, and over here under Hugo theme, I'm gonna delete that and paste the name of that theme that I liked.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Do you grab the ending of the URL on the Hugo website or the user GitHub account?
Yeah, use your username and theme name.
All right, perfect. And another question about when we're creating our own repo on GitHub or existing, so do we just have to keep repeating those commands that when you show on the slides?
Yeah, exactly. So this, let me see. Where are those commands? I lost them. Right here. This is just the first time. You just need to do that the first time. These are the commands that you're gonna repeat. Right here every time. So you're gonna make changes to your site, and once you want to, push those changes, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna git add space dot git commit message git push.
All right, perfect. So whenever we work on a new project, we just go to slide 14, and then pretty much that's where we create our repo. And then when we come back to our project, and then we just go to there, that slide 19, and just pretty much update the changes to our website, correct?
Correct.
Right,
yeah, correct.
Hey, Pablo, I had a question.
Mhm.
If we already have like some GitHub repositories with like past projects and stuff, how do we
Yeah.
add those to the website? Would we have to copy, like when we were in RStudio and
Mhm.
like you say do a new markdown file, would you just
Yeah.
copy it to there? Or is there a way to copy everything, including like like if there's like PDFs and stuff that are in your repository that you want, like that, like, and like pictures and stuff that give more meaning to your project? Is there a way to get those on the website as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. The answer is I don't know. And I will tell you that I tried to do that in the past. I was not able to figure it out. So I just ended up copying whatever I had.
What you can do is the flow is a little different. Since you already have the repo on Git, the command you would use would be git clone and then the URL to your repo. And that will make a copy of it on your local machine. And then you go into RStudio and you just create a project and you say, there's an option there for existing directory or create a new directory. You just choose existing directory. And then that will create the project with those files already there.
But will that add it to the web, like your current website? Like
You
your
then,
page?
so now that you have the repo on your machine, you have to go back to GitHub and link that to your website. So there's a one-to-one relationship between your website and the Git repo.
Oh, so like when you download what's it called? Netlify. You have to install it on each repo that you want to have hosted on it.
Yeah, you link them together. So what's happening is when you're pushing your changes to GitHub is triggering a build that pushes stuff to Netlify.
I see. Okay, cool. Thanks, John.
No problem.
Do you pay for that? But because I know like GitHub for some CI/CD stuff you have to pay. Do you have to pay?
Not for this.
it?
No, for this you do not have to pay anything.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Just kind of a follow-up, I guess, John or Pablo. If I like connect, or if I download Netlify to two different repositories, how does that end up looking on the website end?
So one thing is that Netlify it's just like hosting the site, deploying the site. You're not downloading it. What you're doing is you're whatever is in your GitHub repository, that's what you're sending to Netlify. Now, let me go to Netlify real quick. Let's see if I understood your question. For example, I have two sites here. This is the one I showed you, but I was working on this tutorial earlier. So, it's another site. I don't know if I got lost. Sorry, I got lost a little on your question, but you could have multiple sites if that's a question.
My question is more like, could you condense it all into one site?
Yeah, you can, but again, it has to be under the same repository. So all your project, all your work is gonna have to be under that repository. Say it's your website repository right here. Everything has to be under one.
So if I have a bunch of repositories with different projects, I'd have to clone everything and like push it all into one website repository for it to all go on.
Correct.
I see. Okay, thank you.
I had a quick question, Pablo. What are the kind of, a better question would be, do you have any samples that some of the students from UCI could look at in terms of how to organize the project and what would be beneficial to put on it? I know you mentioned that particular project, but some examples, if you could include those links.
I was hesitant to show you guys this because it's been a while since I uploaded, did anything with my, I don't even remember my website name. Let me see. I can find myself. There you go. So this is my website, right? And again, everything I have here, I just follow the same process that I show you all. You know, again, it's preference, and you know, I think you can find a lot of blogs online that will have different recommendations. You know, I have an about page, just a little bit about me, some of the certifications I have, some this section right here is just, you know, certifications I took or classes, you know, like if you take an online class, lynda.com or whatever, I would put it there. Then blog, this is just personal things that I blogged about, and post. This might be a little bit more along what you were asking. Let me see. I'll show you this one. You know, I was mentioning that you might want to have a like a storyline of what is that you're doing. So this is an example of the Simpsons paradox. It shows a little bit of the code. It shows a little bit of the output. You know, plots, I think it's important. I guess my recommendation is just put things and projects that you're interested in, and that are relevant to the field you're applying. Like, I don't know, if you're gearing towards marketing, you know, put more posts into marketing rather than put things on clinical trials or epidemiology. I don't know. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Seeing one of the examples really helped.
Okay.
Do you have some liberty with the template and how it looks? Like, can you edit things in line in RStudio, or are you kind of stuck to how the template is and constrained?
No, yeah, you can change things. And let me open the other one. You can change things. It's very customizable.
Because if I'm just looking at the .toml file, it looks like you could add like other text or like pictures and stuff, but I wasn't sure if like that would just like throw errors if you tried to like save it.
No, and no, yeah. So of course, sometimes you're gonna find out if you delete something, oh, it's not working or whatever. But it's very customizable. So for example, this thing Lee, right? I'm not 100% sure where this is coming from, or so you know, what I would do is start poking around. Like, where is this? Oh, look at this. I don't know if you're familiar with favicons, but this is usually what you see on a website. This thing right here. You see how this is the site we just deployed. It has this like Lee in little. You can change that, right? Or let's see the images. Logo. Okay, so it's Lee. Let's change that real quick. Let's just do, I don't know. I'm just gonna grab. This is gonna be the logo. I'm gonna. How do I save this? Edit this image and save image as PNG. So look at this. What I'm gonna do. I'm creating this other image. I'm gonna go to the website. I think it was under themes, Hugo. I think it was under static, yeah, images and logo. So I'm gonna change this one. I'm gonna name it logo. I'm gonna delete this one. Can I delete it from here? Yes. Let's see if that works. Place it, yeah. So, well, it didn't, right? So I'm gonna have to figure more of the things on exactly where is this coming from. I don't know, you can play with it, but yeah, very customizable.
Cool, thanks.
It looks like it didn't completely replace in your repository.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, let me see.
No, never mind. Maybe restart it.
Yeah, let me see. I'm thinking this right here might be coming from somewhere else. And I'm not 100% sure.
Up, look, scroll down.
Oh no, this is a Hugo.
Oh,
No,
never mind.
this is a different one. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Not found. Yeah, so I started making. This is where you start to break things and you know, play with it. And if you get stuck, just download it again. Like just download the theme from scratch and see what is it that you did.
Hey, Pablo, another question. So when you start building your own portfolio, right? Is there anyone that you kind of look up to or someone else
Yeah.
portfolio? Like, can you provide that recommendation so I can have an idea where how
Yeah.
how you started?
Yeah. So look at this. Again, this is all in the presentation, but click on this on Awesome Blockdown, and you're gonna find a lot of examples here, and all of these examples are from people who followed. I'm not gonna say the same process, but a very similar process in the sense that it was built with Blockdown. So let's take a look at Isabella Velasquez. This is someone that I like, I admire. So, and she blogs a lot. Well, I don't know if a lot, but she blogs. Look at this. You know, it's nice. It's nice looking. It has a homepage, an about page, blog, different contact her. She's including her Twitter, her Facebook, her LinkedIn. This is one post, I guess, on how to create this type of output. So that would be one. You know, just take a look at this site, this awesome Blockdown, and yeah, that's what I would recommend. Go on it and see what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
I will tell you something. Let's look at her again. Most people, I don't know if I'm gonna find her. Most people have their website on GitHub. So wait, let's look at the first example. There you go. This is the one I like, right? I said I like her. So let's see. We have. Oh, there it is. This is her GitHub, right? So let's see if we can find the repository where she is. Okay, so look at this, Pipe Dream. Isabella Velasquez's personal website. See, this is the same thing that we just created. It has a config.toml. So let's look at that real quick. so she's using, the theme she's using is Hugo Future Imperfect, right? I don't know, this is her site. Remember I was telling you guys about Arbine.io? That's what she's using. And you can look at the website and see, okay, she has a home, she has an about, she has a blog. Let's look at what she's doing here. Can we figure out where that is coming? And let me see. Okay, there it is. See right here on menu main, she has a home, she has an about, she has a blog, she has an itemized part. If we look at ours, we have the same thing. So what we could do is, you know, if we want to add an about part, oops, we can just do like about that kind of thing. So you just look at different things and pick what you want.
Oh no, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The other thing you could do, I mean, give her credit or whatever, but I mean, you can, this is public, right? So you can just copy this and delete things that are not your analysis and just add your own, change names, you know, just find something that you like and start modifying.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Pablo, could you show how you added the iris markdown to the R again?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the easy way is this. Add-ins. Under add-ins, you're gonna click on new post. Let's call it Iris 2. The author is me. You know, you don't have to add any categories. You can if you want, but you don't have to. And then we're gonna select what type of file it is. So I'm gonna hit an R markdown right here. And done. So what it did is under content. So remember, we're on website, under content, under post, it created this folder called Iris 2. Okay. And now you can just start typing in things. I don't know. What was it that I did? Data Iris. Let's do head Iris, right? If we run that and we need it, remember, we can need it. It's gonna show us. I was not showing that, but you get the point, right? So again, add-ins, new post, whatever it is, pick the type of file, R markdown, and once you have it, start, start going through your analysis. Did I go too fast, or was that fine?
No, I was able to follow along. Thank you.
Okay.
I had another question, Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the config.toml file,
mm-hmm.
Where you were editing like those links on the the main menu,
yeah.
How could you add like another like a sub web page to your like website that you're currently building, if that makes sense? Like if you wanted to add, like if if like you wanted it so like they clicked a button and it took you to like kind of like that, yeah.
So let me, I'm moving this. So for example, this Twitter, if I click on this, it's taking me to the RStudio's Twitter.
Yeah.
You want that, you want like a tab that takes you to another site? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I meant like another page on this website. So like it's not
Oh,
all on,
I
like,
see.
the
Got
front
it, got
page.
it, got it. Okay. Let me see if I remember this. Okay, so you're gonna do this, for example. You're gonna do you will create something like, I'm trying to how to explain. This is what I would do. Let's see, say you want, I will create, let's call it quotes, right? You like quotes and you want to put quotes. So what you're saying, what it's essentially saying is when you click on the tab quotes, it's gonna redirect you to the URL /quotes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
Thank
but in order to do that, you're gonna have to create a folder that has quotes.
I see.
Yeah.
So for this one, we have name posts and the URL is /example. Where does that lead to? Like, what folder is that pulling from, or is it not?
Yeah, it's from here. Actually, let me see. Let's go. I don't 100% know. Oh, example. No. It's because I started changing things, so that's why it's not working. Let me see. Oh, because I don't have an example folder, right? Like I just told you to create a post folder.
So whatever the like, I don't know what the proper name for it is, but like, for example, like this one where it says example, you'd have to have a folder that's spelled and like formatted the exact same way, and it would pull from it.
Yeah. So for example, right here we have this post folder, you know, and it has all these things. What we could do is create a folder right here that we're gonna call it example, and in it we can just create, you know, have markdown files or whatever you want to put in it on it. So let me just do it real quick as an example. Content, so here would be sample, right? And then let's say I want to create a new let's use it this way, example, and it's a markdown file. Okay, so this is just example. Right now my website is broken. I don't know if you remember, I broke it when I changed the logo and that kind of thing. But let's see. Yeah, no, it's not working. But that's how you would do it. Essentially, you're creating a folder, and within that folder, I have to save this. Within that folder, you're saving things.
I see. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for staying here. I I appreciate it. And again, these things will be online. They're online, and we'll provide the YouTube video after. So thank you very much. You guys have a great night.